You went to bed next to them last night, and you didn't even reach over. Not after a fight, not because of resentment. You just didn't. Didn't think to. And that absence of impulse, that's the most dangerous thing that can happen between two people who chose each other. You share a table every morning. You know their schedule, their coffee order, what mood they wake up in. You still function, you still look like a couple from the outside. But at night, when the house goes quiet, you catch yourself thinking, I don't know what this person is actually feeling right now. Not today, not this week, maybe not this entire year. And the thought that follows is the one that stings. You haven't asked, not in a way that meant it. This isn't the end, it's a symptom, and symptoms can be treated if you know exactly where it broke.
Nobody decided to become roommates with the person they married. You just got efficient, divided the responsibilities, bills, kids, appointments, built a system. And somewhere along the way, you started calling that system a relationship. Psychologists call this relationship drift. It's hard to catch because it doesn't feel like loss, it feels like stability. It creeps in like fog, and by the time you notice it, you're already deep inside it. Year 1, we'll talk tonight after the kids are gone. Year 2, this weekend when things slow down. Year 5, you can't remember the last time you talked about something real, not logistics, about each other. Later feels like a plan, but later is not a plan. Later is a hole, and connection, moved to later often enough, falls in. Drift isn't random. There's a specific moment where it starts, and it's much smaller than you'd ever expect.
Dr. John Gottman spent 40 years filming couples in a lab. He could watch two people for just 6 minutes and predict with over 90% accuracy whether they'd still be together in 10 years. Not based on how they fought, on one pattern he called turning away. Every day, dozens of times, your partner makes what Gottman calls a bid for connection. A sigh while doing dishes. Look at that. A pause before saying something, then not saying it. These aren't random, they're invitations. And every time you choose, turn toward them, look up, respond, let them know they were heard, or turn away. Keep scrolling, say, stay in your own head. Couples who stay together respond to those bids 86% of the time. Couples heading for divorce, only 33%. The difference between together and over isn't betrayal. It's thousands of small moments where one person reached out and the other wasn't there. Your brain is a prediction machine. When you first met this person, it was firing constantly. Everything about them was new, unpredictable, worth tracking. Then it built a model, marked it known, familiar, safe, and stopped paying close attention. The problem, your partner is not a model. They've been changing every single year. New fears, new things they want, pain they absorbed and never told you about because nobody asked. The version of them you think you know, that's a photograph from years ago. You've been treating it like it's still accurate. And they've been doing the same with theirs of you. You're both in the same house, living with old versions of each other, both lonely, both waiting for the other to come back, and both assuming the other one is fine. There's a specific kind of loneliness that's worse than being alone. It's sitting across from someone at dinner and having nothing real to say. It's lying awake next to a person and feeling completely invisible. It's laughing at the same TV show and feeling more distant than if you were in different cities. This kind of loneliness is harder to name because from the outside, you're not alone. You have someone. So you feel guilty for feeling empty. You tell yourself it's just a phase. You wait for it to pass on its own. But it doesn't pass on its own. Silence left long enough becomes the language of the relationship. And once silence becomes normal, breaking it starts to feel risky. That's the real trap, not the distance itself. The fact that you've both stopped believing the distance can close. Most couples eventually try to talk about it, and most of those conversations make things worse. Because the conversation starts wrong. We never talk anymore. You're always in your head. I feel like I don't know you. These sound like openings. They're actually accusations. The other person doesn't hear an invitation, they hear a verdict. So they defend.
Or they apologize without meaning it. Or they agree and then nothing changes. And now you've had the conversation, it went nowhere, and it feels even more hopeless than before. The problem isn't that you're talking, it's what you're asking. Most people ask questions that put the other person on trial, and nobody opens up on trial. There's one question that works differently. It doesn't accuse, doesn't pressure, doesn't perform. It just opens a door.
Do you still love me? They reassure you instead of being honest. Why are you so distant? Sounds like blame. They shut down. Are we okay? Too loaded. The real answer never comes. The question that actually works is, what are you carrying right now that I don't know about? It assumes they have an interior life you haven't fully seen. It doesn't blame them for hiding it. It signals something most people in long relationships are desperate to feel, that someone is genuinely curious about what's happening inside them, not their schedule, not their performance, them. Most people haven't been asked that in years. Ask it, then go completely quiet. Don't fill the silence. Don't prompt. Just wait. What comes out of that silence is where the real relationship has been hiding. There's one condition. Without it, none of this works. You have to actually listen. Not to respond, not to defend yourself, not to redirect to your own experience 5 sentences in. Just to hear them, fully, with no other agenda, maybe for the first time in a long time. This sounds simple. It isn't. Most of us listen to reply. We're already forming our answer while the other person is still talking. We're tracking where we agree, where we don't, what we want to say next. Real listening is different. It means staying with what they're saying long enough for them to feel it, long enough for something real to come through. That feeling of being actually heard is what most people in drifting relationships have been starving for. You don't fix years of distance in one conversation, but you can remind each other that someone is still here, and that's enough to start. You didn't fall out of love. You fell out of attention. Love is something you feel. Attention is a decision, one you make or don't make every single day. And the good news is that decisions can change starting tonight. You don't need a big speech. Just sit close, closer than usual, phone face down. Ask the question, then listen. The distance between you isn't a wall, it's a hallway. And all it takes to walk down it is one person deciding to move first. You already started. You watched this far. That means some part of you isn't ready to let this go. That part is right. Drop one word in the comments, what you're feeling right now, for the person who opens this at 3 a.m. thinking they're the only one going through this. They're not, and neither are you.